Alright, so everyone watching, take a moment and observe around you the peace and the silence. Isn't it amazing that when one person speaks, the rest remain quiet to maintain that balance? Balance is a word that is constantly drilled into us, yet we forget its importance. From when we are children to when we turn adults, it loses its true essence. But think about yourself as a child on a seesaw in a park, or when parents advised us to balance extracurriculars with studying to succeed. Or nowadays when we strive to strike a work-life balance, to take care of our mental health, a balance that we truly need. In all this, we're fully aware of the balancing concept, right? Yet, when it comes to protecting our planet, we turn a blind eye and we forget about it. But our planet is the true meaning of the word balance. Have you ever thought of the intricacies like gases, pressures, chemistry, and the science that needs to be struck for us to exist as a human race? The blue marble that we live on might be huge, but the line it treads to sustain us is as thin as a shoelace. And it's something we take for granted because we have our own problems, right? But climate change is here, and trust me, it's a problem for all of us to act on with all our might. Expediting global warming and climate change is a victim of an economic system that is driven by greed and profit. Blindly, without being aware that we support this flawed system as we constantly chase happiness and convenience. And we take it to extremes, and you'll notice that with absolutely anything we do as a race, through capitalism and materialism rather than mindfulness. We support this vicious cycle because we think we are too busy to notice the true cost of our actions. But have you ever asked yourself who made that product and what are their working conditions like? What raw materials were sourced and how were they sourced? Where was the product made? How far was the product transported to get to the shelves? The behind the scenes that allows for a product or service or building to be built. The fact that operation costs are made to be negligible to drive profit, while coming at the expense of people and our environment. Profit seeking solely as a success indicator, what we've become. It's a broken, short-lived system that stands no chance against what we face today and will face in the future. From social justice issues to inequality to degradation of our environment, because without people, communities, and environment, there can actually be no profit. Yet, as we go on each day, especially in 2020, am I right? Awareness levels are rising, from our youth to our social entrepreneurs to citizens and maybe some governments. And this is great because we need it. Yet, with the power of digital media, the Instagrams and the Facebooks, with headlines being at the touch of a button, with us all having a platform to voice our opinion, suddenly some opinions go viral and become headlines that we believe in. We fall victim yet again to manipulative messaging and fake news, impacting how we react and act on all the issues we face today. But we must realize that negative headlines actually gain more traction than the positive ones. Just turn on our news channel today and try to find something good. Not taking control of what you're exposed to can lead to depression and anxiety, and in case of climate change, eco-anxiety. It's when you're overwhelmed by all that's happening and you feel like this is it, anything I do will not make a difference anymore. But that's how it's made out to be because of the broken system we're in, where profits are driven at the cost of mental and physical well-being. But that's where we come back to this concept balance. Negative news, problems that we face, all should serve as an opportunity, while doing our own research into the other side of the story. Start doing your own research and you realize that you're not the only one that's aware yet helpless. There are tons around you, aware, motivated, inspired, and ready to act for a better world. It's time we start supporting these movements, children, initiatives, businesses, and vote. We do this and we're demanding more just practices from all stakeholders with the power to change the entire dynamics of how our economy operates. Support those that strive to find the balance between the 3 Ps, their triple bottom line: people, planet, and profit. We must revive this balance first to ensure we're able to help our planet get back to its balance. For me, I was an unaware millennial living a life that was framed to me as successful. Make money, buy a car, and get married. While I was at that first step itself, I started becoming aware of the discrepancies and the inequalities. And I found myself seeking a fulfilling space, a space that will allow me to have a clear conscience. and thus I found myself at Bare Necessities Zero Waste Solutions in Bangalore. While I'd love to share my experiences with you all, what I really found mind-blowing is that if social enterprises, especially startups, can find ways to balance their triple bottom line, then it is honestly truly possible, no matter what the big players in the market may say. So firstly, what is Bare Necessities Zero Waste Solutions? Using a people-centered and earth-centered approach, Bare Necessities addresses serious flaws in manufacturing, distribution, and consumption by innovating and providing sustainable solutions to waste and identifying problems that we must all address if we want to be innovative and socially conscious. As a social enterprise, we rely on ethical sourcing from local farmers and vendors, and we emphasize the employment of local women. Bare Necessities then strives to solve the often ignored yet growing problem of waste while providing ethical and innovative solutions that benefit consumers and the society. By producing zero waste products, hosting educational workshops, curating online educational courses, and conducting sustainability consulting services, the organization or the social enterprise seeks to change the narrative on waste in India and demonstrate that any individual can positively impact their community through inspiring others to reduce their waste and think consciously about their impact on the world. Now that you know what Bare Necessities or we represent as a social enterprise, you must also know that, again, we are a social enterprise. So social enterprise actually epitomizes the word balance. As a social enterprise, the goal is to maximize profits while maximizing benefits to society and the environment. Current models are so drawn to profits, yet we fail to understand that social enterprises, what I think is the future, fulfills a need in the market while earning a sustainable profit. It focuses beyond profits by measuring success through the positive impact a business can make socially, culturally, and environmentally. So let's start with the first of the three P's, people. At the social enterprise I work for, we support and hire women from local communities. Women that have been told there is no place in this world for them to work. And today, our amazing team speaks English, uses softwares on computers, learn to ride a scooter, and they segregate and compost their organic waste indirectly. Employee well-being is so important, a factor that is often overlooked. Just look at the fast fashion industry, for instance. Next, supporting local entrepreneurs and artisans. While globalization is tremendously helpful in many ways, it's important to find the balance again between local and globalization. Through analyzing supply chains and ecosystems, you come to realize there's so much to celebrate right where you are. While it may come at a slightly higher cost than if it was shipped in, it also supports livelihoods and healthy lifestyles in our local communities who are honestly so skilled but don't have a platform. Finally, educating and knowledge sharing. Today, we're actually in this downward spiral of not sharing and collaborating because we want to keep our competitive edge and, in the end, profits. Yet, knowledge sharing while innovating as an enterprise is an amazing way to tap into larger markets while helping others in the ecosystem do the same. Educating the community is next on the problems we're facing. Through talks, workshops, online courses, our social enterprise strives to educate our communities, schools, colleges, and even employees at corporations. And this just goes to show that it can be done, and this is as a young social enterprise. Next balancing P is planet. Thinking about the packaging, the sourcing of the raw materials, the ingredients that go into the products we use, and where this all ends up at the end of its life is so important. Mindful living allows us to realize that we honestly can't pronounce some ingredients we put in our own bodies. It allows us to realize that the plastic toothpaste tube is multi-layered and can't be recycled. It allows us to realize that extraction of fossil fuels is existent in all products that we use. So our social enterprise strives to go zero waste with all packaging, incorporating compostable, reusable, and recyclable components. From providing solutions that are made out of bamboo, upcycled fabric, waste coffee grounds, orange peels, and fallen neem trees, along with glass jars as reusable alternatives, one can even participate in the refill program, which allows you to purchase exactly how much you need, while embodying natural ingredients that are local to the country we're in. Think about times before plastic and before chemicals. Natural ingredients was the magic. Today, chemicals have taken over to majorly improve scaling of products and thus landing in our landfills, our oceans, our water bodies, and in the end, the food we eat. We need to transition to mimicking our environment and become circular in nature. What we use to bring a product into action goes back to the planet in a regenerative manner at the end of its life. And lastly, you guessed it, the third P, profits. Now, profits isn't a negative aspect of a business. It's actually the opposite, because it can help drive innovation, livelihoods, and even donations to wonderful causes. It can be a huge driver of change if we build ethical and transparent business models striving to find the balance. As a social enterprise, again, we're a for-profit, but our profit is repurposed to donate to reforestation efforts and waste picker organizations, to educating through talks and workshops, to helping our communities tackle their waste footprint, and innovating more so we can help consumers realize that our daily lives can be a lot more sustainable if we simply just choose to slow down. Yes, it's exciting that the concern for our environment is growing substantially, and we're all looking for ways to decrease our footprint. And indeed, there are many different ways. On the contrary, there are a lot of people out there who believe saying no to one plastic straw or saying no to one plastic bag may not have an impact on the problem. Why? Because they believe it just isn't enough. But what if we look at the complete journey of an item? Just like life, it is essential for us to understand the bigger picture in an unbiased manner without being influenced by the many external sources. There are many who are reluctant to move away from something like plastic straws because of inconvenience, price points, or simply lack of awareness. The awareness aspect is a factor that can help us have a more holistic and long-term view on a product, rather than a short-term view that can be detrimental to our health and environment. It's amazing because saying no to a simple plastic bag indeed decreases demand, which drives our economy. A lower demand means lower profitability for an organization, meaning less resources and capital to fund their production process. Only way for a company to then survive is to listen to consumers and become more sustainable. If you think saying no to one plastic bag or saying no to plastic bags and all the other single-use plastics items is only because of poor disposal infrastructure and ending up in oceans, it's much bigger than that. The Lifecycle assessment highlights a cradle-to-grave approach and now transitioning to a cradle-to-cradle approach, and provides us all a technique to understand and become mindful of the various inputs that go into all the stages of the product we end up purchasing. The life cycle of a product includes the sourcing of raw materials, methods of distribution, the manufacturing process, how we use it, and at the end, how we dispose of it. Breaking this down, we can slowly highlight which parts of the life cycle are not sustainable and environmentally friendly. But it's not just about the environment. The life cycle assessment helps you assess the transparency and the ethics behind your supply chain, and an insight into all the labor that goes into your final product. This allows us to make our processes more socially just for societies as well. Many times we wonder, how can we get access to all this information as consumers? The answer is quite straightforward. Ask questions and do your own research. Ask questions about the ingredients, the people who work hard to bring this product to the shelves, the packaging, and even what the brand really stands for. This is always the first step in becoming aware of what's happening around us. As consumers, even if we don't conduct an in-depth life cycle assessment of the items we buy, just having a general idea of what goes into manufacturing that product, selling the product, and using the product gives a huge understanding that this is more than just wrongful disposing. So this is a perfect transition to how can we start and become aware of our own environmental footprint. Similar to anything we do in life, and I keep saying, relating it back to life because we think tackling our environmental footprint is such a foreign concept. But actually, the approach to doing so is exactly how we strive to do well in our exams, or getting a job, or our fitness goals. First, we have to observe what we're doing right and wrong, and what we're doing wrong. In terms of waste, go about your life normally for a couple of days, but be mindful and observe the waste you generate by the end of the week. You'll be shocked at what you find and how useless some of those things can be. So through this, write down the top most waste producing areas, for example in your personal care routine. Next, actually put a number to it. How much waste and what type of waste? This helps articulate the type of environmental impact it can have. And lastly, jot down, based on your research and understanding, note down what sustainable options are available to those top waste producing areas. So then break it down. How can you start using the sustainable option? It's all about setting realistic goals and realizing that not all of it happens overnight. Realistic goals and goal setting is literally the key to everything we do and want to achieve. So what's stopping us from using the same proven method to tackle our waste footprint? Look, climate change is here. The battle right now isn't to stop it before it gets here. It's to mitigate the consequences of what is bound to happen due to our past actions. And now, this next decade, we have many call it challenge, but I like to call it an opportunity to transition our world to a more just world in all fronts. It's an opportunity because challenge is a negative word. We're always, literally, always asking ourselves, when will it be my time? Guys, it's right in front of us. The opportunity to shine, this is one right now. Zero-waste living is a part of the solution that brings you closer to the ground reality of becoming intimate with your waste, the people that are impacted by your own footprint, and the processes that go into each and every product that we use, from manufacturing to fossil fuel extraction to transportation, and lastly, the disposal. Fixing this system takes time, effort, patience, persistence, and incremental yet swift steps. But when we do this, we're bound to build a planet that is sustainable. So let's apply this to our occupations, our businesses, our communities, our people, and our homes. Let's start understanding that we're a huge part of the solution and that without us, an economy is inexistent. That just shows our actions can have a massive impact. Balance is only a 7-letter word that stands tall in our solution against climate change, inequalities, and social injustice. Thank you.